Hi guys, it's Wandering Swordsman, and this is part 6 of what if Deku had a quirk called Enhance. So we start off with Deku. We start off with Deku talking to Uraraka, and Uraraka's asking, "What was that?" And everyone looks at Deku like, "Yeah, dude, what was that?" And Deku starts to explain. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, he starts to explain that was a mode where he literally cannot control his body, and he literally goes berserk. Literally. So everyone's amazed. One, because they could have got killed by Deku using that. And two, because that's a very powerful special move. But then Deku was like, "Oh my, can I do something? Like two more things?" And he's like, "Okay, go ahead." And everyone's watching still. And Deku's like before, when he was doing the berserk mode, he was regulating all of enhance into his body and around all his body. But this time, he decided to put all of his strength into his legs, making his legs times 12. And then he's like, "Bungee jump!" And he blasts off. And well, no, actually, before he does bungee jump, he's put all of 12 times 12 into his legs, and he has 12. No, he has 6 in one leg and 6 in one leg. So 6 plus 6 is 12. So he runs, and no one can see him. No one can see how he's moving, and this is because not only is he using enhance, but he's also using Win for All, and this is entering him into a higher state of enhance. Basically, if he's adding Win for All, it's like adding a 12 more into his leg. So basically, if we're talking in general, with Win for All, it's basically like adding times 6 in one leg and times 6 in the other. So yeah, and literally, it looks like he's either like, what is it called? Flash step? No. He's using body flicker from Naruto. If people don't know what body flicker is, it's basically moving. I think it's putting chakra around your body, around like your feet, and moving at extreme speeds, right? Or just like basic, almost teleporting, I guess. So he uses that, and he jumps off, and the air shockwaves blows almost everyone away, and he's running and he's teleporting all around. The only thing that's telling people that he's moving at all is the fact that he's not, like, the air shockwaves are located at different spots. That's the only thing telling them that he's moving, because they cannot see him at all. So they're really they like step back and like, Deku stops using it, but like around 30 minutes later of resting, he feels an extreme cramp, like breaking your bone type cramp, and he starts like screaming like, ah, because no one is going to be like, "Yo, dude, what's up? What's going on with you?" while having a feeling like they just broke a bone. So Deku's like, ah, and everyone's asking Deku, "Are you okay?" Because they know that his quirk must have some backlash. And Denki goes right up to Deku and was like, "What was that?" It's like, then Deku starts to explain his quirk, because he was not going to be able to tell them what he just did without telling them about his quirk. So he says that basically his quirk allows him to multiply everything that is anything slightly related to him. And he's like, "Can you multiply that too?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" And then Deku realizes what he's talking about. Like, no, of course not. If you guys know, you know. Please don't monetize me, YouTube, because I never actually said it. So don't come at me, okay? Thank you. So, Deku is on his explaining everybody about his quirk, that he can multiply his power, speed, his mental fortitude, his intelligence, and everyone's greatly, greatly impressed. And then Aizawa says, "Oh, that's how you get so many. That's why you're top of class in strength, and also in tests, no, in education." And Deku's like, "Yeah, kinda." And I was like, "What doesn't look at Deku like you're a cheater?" He more looks at him like with respect, because if he thought that it was because he couldn't tell him because of anything that would have gotten with Isaiah. But that's off the point, not the point. So basically, Deku goes straight off, and he tries one more thing, and basically what he tries is he tries to use his everyday things he uses for fighting. For example, his punches, but this time he adds all for one. No, one for all, bro. I continue saying all for one for some reason, but no, he's using one for all, and everyone's seeing that Deku's blasting, punching, cracking everything. And he's like, wow, what type of boost did he have? He wasn't this powerful at the sports festival. And everyone's kind of scared of Deku at this point. But then Deku uses one of his compressed bullets. This comes out times 5 the size. And the force coming at you feels like having a bullet from a Barrett sniper shot at you. If you've ever been to a shooting range before, and you hear one of those things, but like even being far away, it sounds incredibly loud. Being close to it without earplugs, you call yourself a deaf man because that's what you can be after shooting it. But that's not the point of this. And basically, but it doesn't make the sound that it does. It's just that the force of it is basically like that. So he shoots it, but because it's air, it disperses whenever it hits something. So the crater that one makes, let's say, take a door, multiply it by 2, make a circle out of it, and there you have your crater. So it's a really big crater, and everyone's surprised. It's like, it's starting to become something usual, because they now are not getting as surprised as they used to do, because this is something normal to see from Deku. And Gachan, not surprised, but mad instead, because Deku is ranking leagues above of him. He's stronger than most pro heroes. So he's mad, and he's like, "I'll show you, Deku." And this is pissing Bakugo off extremely. Like, Bakugo is enraged, and Bakugo can't hold it anymore, and he goes right up to kick Deku in the face. And he kicks Deku, but he notices that he kicks him, but it goes right through Deku. You guys might know what I'm talking about. It was an after image, and he sees that he's in a circle of after images, and Deku just walking around him like doom, doom, but every single step leaving an after image, kind of like Killua, and he's walking around. And with his hands in his pocket like Killua. And while walking around, Deku goes right in for a kick, but it was an after image. And he kicks him from behind. But, not like kicks him like side rib or anything kind of like that. He kicks him in his leg. So Katsuki falls, but he tries to use the explosion to get up. But then Deku expected this. So he did it like a downwards kick towards Deku, kind of like Sanji. Sanji. And it was like a hyper kick, and this knocks Bakugo out. And Deku, this is instinct for Deku, so he did it off instinct. He didn't do it like normal, because of the fact that activating Berserk mode makes it that your body increases its instinct level. Meaning, like, off instinct, wolves will bite you if they feel endangered in any shape where to form. And this is basically what happened to Deku. As soon as he found himself being tested or being attacked, he instantly reacted and attacked Bakugo. And he snaps out of his like, Bakugo! And everyone's like, you were the guy who knocked him out. Why are you surprised? And Deku can see the sights and thinks that this is basically what everyone's saying in their mind. He's like, well, you're right. Yeah, I did kind of knock Bakugo out on my own behalf. So, Bakugo, right now, in this moment, is knocked out in the infirmary. And because he's in the infirmary, everyone is kind of worried because Bakugo is not waking up. And it has been around like 3 hours. Actually, you know what? 2 hours. And Bakugo isn't waking up. And Deku kind of like karate chops Bakugo. And actually, you know what? He does a karate chop him. He says, look at Bakugo. He's not waking up. He's like, what did you say, you loser? And they're like, you were awake all this time. He's like, no, I just heard Deku say something. And he's like, I knew that wig came up. Like, he knows him too much. And we move on to Aizawa in the room. And this is like a time skip. Well, actually, no. The ultimate, what do they call it? Your ultimate like power. No. The ultimate skill. So like his finisher move. After so after training their ultimate moves, Deku, it was on a Friday, so they go back home and like the dorms were in place. Deku said he was gonna go out. And Aizawa was kind of skeptical about letting him out, but he decided to go ahead and do it. So Deku heads to every single martial art place he can find. And Deku finds a specific one, and it's called Kendo. And he finds Kendo, Judo, Taekwondo, and trains on them. And eventually become, around those 2 days, he becomes a master. So, yeah. But remember, he has his quirk activated. And he mastered, right now, has mastered 10 times 10. And now that he can use times 10, he's using times 10. And that means his learning progress is extremely faster than it used to be. So, Deku right now is going crazy. And everyone is seeing that Deku is becoming a master on everything. And basically, Deku kind of invests himself in Taekwondo and swords. And eventually masters the way of the sword. And now Deku is a sword master. Yep, a sword master. So Deku is not allowed to use actual deadly weapons, as they can cut off a limb. But he's able to use metal swords without like an actual sharpness. He can just use them as a blunt weapon. And he does so, actually. And mastering the way of the sword. Oh god, this is gonna kind of be like One Piece. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. So Deku's like training on in his wait, actually, let me pause for a second. So sorry for pausing. So basically, Deku starts to train, and he tries to involve everything he does and around his swords, and he tries the first thing, trying to combine his skill of using compressed air pressure, and basically, just so you guys know where he got the weapon made. He got it made after, by the support weapon girl, and the support girl. And basically, she invented this mechanical sword. Basically, it can turn sharp, blunt, it can turn kind of like a ray. It can turn into anything basically. It's an all-purpose sword, and it he chooses blunt mode for most of the time, and um the things it's able to do, it's able to send out compressed air pressure because Deku himself asked for that. And the girl said it would be kind of difficult because of downward motion. Instead of collecting air, it puts air away of it, but it always gets refilled by more air in more seconds than it after could. So basically, Deku is like. So basically, she does it, and he gets the weapon. So the weapon basically looks like. Wait, let me see if I can find a picture. So yeah, I found kind of like a picture. It kind of looks like the sword. Kind of looks like that. So basically, well, this isn't the. Well, yeah, actually, Deku kind of looks like this, but like that's when he has actual suit on. He actually has his hero suit on. So Deku mainly looks kind of like this, and he has the sword. And in blunt mode, it's more like a baton, but like kind of like with a inclining edge, kind of like if it was sharp, but no, it's more like a like blunt, really blunt, and it normally wouldn't cut anything, but if it's shot at a very high speeds, then yeah, it would probably cut. So or just break, and basically, so the way it shoots compressed, what Deku thought of was basically like shooting a slash of compressed air. And he tries this. So basically, the way this works is that the sword, when he grabs the sword, he has like a pressure button that if he holds it at enough strength, it will not break. It's made out of pure titanium, which is actually, you know what? I'm not like I'm gonna make it like of an unbreakable. This what if is gonna be like an unbreakable steel, and if he puts enough pressure in it, then it will collect air, and this air would last around for a long, long time, and because it would last around for if he measured it, it would be able to shoot off at least like 10,000 compressed air slashes, and basically Deku gains the air, but the air takes around like 30 seconds to actually go on his side. And all this air would last around him for around a week. And he could shoot it off at high speeds as this all depends on the user. If he's fast enough to to slash, that's how fast it's going to be. The compressed air relies on the speed of the user and how much momentum the user's giving it to move. So basically, yeah, that's how the weapon works. And Deku tries it out for the first time, and every Denki is training. No, actually, you know what? Bakugo is training as well, trying to beat Deku, and they're at the same arena that they trained with ultimate moves, and Bakugo hides, and basically Deku's training as well, but instead of this, Deku puts on a headband, but covering his eyes. And basically he has these dummies that move every second. No, actually, no. He has these UA provided him with golems that move every second. And they're extremely strong. They cannot be broken, but they can be harmed to a specific point. And they're kind of made out of the same material that Dagger's weapon's made out of. So, oh snap. Wait, give me a second, guys. Sorry for the detour. So basically, they're all trying. They're all target is Deku. So they basically trying to attack Deku, and Deku is getting. Deku's not getting hurt, but while attacking them, he's shooting compressed air at each one, trying to master it. One gets too close, and it's about to punch Deku, and Deku knows that if he gets punched, he's going to get knocked out. Because these things have like a 80-ton punch. Like, it's like getting... It's like getting a elephant thrown at your face. And he will get knocked out if he gets any way touched by this. And Deku's like, damn it! And out of instinct, his body takes over. And his body starts going off. And it is putting all its strength into his right arm. And he's going crazy. His speed of his hands are moving to incredible speeds. Kind of like if his hands were moving were body flickering. And no one can see what he's doing, but the robot is getting launched. And his body is going right after the robot, not letting it have even a second to breathe. And eventually, the robot gets cut. And listen to me, it's unbreakable to human terms. But if you guys want to know how much power he's actually putting all into his hand, remember, I told you he mastered 10% of his power. Meaning that with One For All, that percentage doubles by 2. So you know what? 3. So we're talking about powers of 3. Meaning that if he has 10, it multiplies 3 times. Just for people who don't know that. Because I don't want to be saying what you guys grades or what you guys learned. But that's not the point of this. So Deku, so that means that Deku right now, if he masters 10, he has 30 with One For All. But with not only his rage or berserk mode on it, that increases his power by 2 again. Means that he has times 60 on his hand, meaning that wait, let me pause. Sorry guys. My mom came into the room and she was talking. I didn't want you guys to hear that unnecessary conversation. So basically, Deku gets Bakugo screams, Deku! He's like, his instinct, or I was about to call it instinct mode. It's either like, it's between these 3 names. Instinct mode, rage mode, or berserk mode. Either of those 3 names is the name of this mode. I'll call it between those 3. And, Bakugo is amazed, because it was in blunt mode, and he cut a supposedly unbreakable material. And if you guys want to know, like, if you guys want it scaled of how much power Deku was using, take All Might's Prime, multiply that by 2, and you got Deku. So at that moment, Deku had All Might's power in his prime times 2. And because of this, because Deku learned so fast, and imagine, in that short moment of time 60, Deku now is able to use 15 times and 25% of All For One. One For All. So Deku thinks that he needs to chill down, because he thinks that he's becoming a little too powerful, and he wants to enjoy being, he wants to enjoy his friends, and he decides that he'll chill out for this day, and that has only been, that's been the weekend. So Deku has grown in power by a lot in the weekend. And Deku thinks that he has progressed a lot using he's progressed a lot using his enhanced mode, and he thinks he should focus a little bit more on his One For All, because that is All Might's power. And let me just give you a little bit of All Might's thinking. He's like, did I give it to the right person? I don't think he even uses it. Oh, I should have gave it to somebody else. And well, this isn't actually All Might's thought process. This is Deku's thought process about what All Might is saying. So Deku thinks that he's doing something bad and not using All Might's quirk at all. Wait, give me a second, guys. Sorry, guys. My mom was trying to enter the thing. Sorry for the pauses. So basically, Deku is now in Aizawa's class, and he's just waiting around, and he's thinking maybe All Might's gonna come again, and three people step in, and you know these three people. It's the big four. No, the big. Three people come in. You guys might know these three people, and these three people is the big three. I said big four, even though I said it was three people. It doesn't make sense, does it? So it's Mirio and I don't remember the rest of the names. I'm gonna need like someone to tell me down in the comments the names of every single UA character in this whole entire thing, because I greatly appreciate that in the greatest amount of forms. So yeah, please give me the name of one of the people of UA. So yeah. And that's to get back on to the what if. Deku is in class and he doesn't recognize these people. So he's like, as Mr. Aizawa was like, yes, Midoriya? He's like, who are these people? And Aizawa starts to explain. These are the big four. And there are, what is their name? Yeah, they're the big four. Basically, the strongest in our school. The strongest people in our school right now. Because, actually, yeah, the strongest people in our school right now. And they say that there are, third years of UA, and everyone's kind of looks up to them. And first, no, not as all. So, okay, so Mirio, says who he is, and, almost all the girls are kind. Well, I'm gonna change it up. Kind of, almost the girls are in love with. It's kind of like the girls think that Deku is hot, but they think him as more of the loner type, so they kind of strange away from liking Deku. But they like Mirio because of his joking nature, because he made a joke. And, well, not really anyone liked it, but because the girls liked it, they all laughed at it. And so Deku looks at Mirio, and Mirio looks at Deku, and kind of like a spark in the middle of their sights, kind of like a standoff. And Mirio takes this as a challenge, even though Deku takes this as like a greeting. And then Mirio, well, actually, before Mirio talks, the girl says who she is. The boy says who she is. Who he is. Okay. And sorry guys, I was just thinking because I was like, because I don't have no script at all. I'm thinking about writing a script actually, because I'm gonna need a script if I'm ever gonna do these videos right. I'm forgetting a lot of parts, and I'm just realizing that now. But that's not what we're talking about. That's not the what if. And basically, so they explained to Deku everything about the work studies. And no, yeah, the work studies. And basically, yeah. So basically, Mirio challenges the class UA to a duel. And they're like, where's the other class? And he's like, there's no other class. It's only gonna be me. He's like, And the boys are kind of like, this hot shot. But the girls are like, damn, he's brave. And um, Bakugo, Todoroki, and all the boys can see how the girls love Mirio, and they're kind of mad because like they're trying to steal my girl. We're like, no, not my girl, but like the girl I'm planning to be like, I'm planning to wifey this woman. What are you trying to do to her? And Denki's like, yo, hot shot. Not talking to Deku. Or actually, you know what? Yeah, talking to Deku. Like, hey, hot shot. Think you could take this guy out? It's like, no problem. And um, Deku. Well, this is there is a new. There is a new Well, actually, yeah. So Deku looks okay. Look at Deku, and he okay in the picture. Deku looks exactly like this, but take him instead. Yeah. So he kind of looks like this, but add the textures of his suit on. So his suit is all black like this, kind of like if he was a villain Deku, but no, not really, because he's kind of more like a loner. So Deku takes out. And this, he takes out his sword, and in this way, it's a katana now. And Deku looks exactly like this, like he's looking out, and he's looking at Mirio, and Mirio's like, I'm not messing with this guy. But Deku then changes the setting back to blunt mode, and Mirio knows that it looks like Deku's gonna be a big challenge or someone to take on, so he goes right after everyone else in the class, and Todoroki and Bakugo are coordinating and are able to get a few solid hits on Mirio. But that's not really too long until they got knocked out. And it's only Deku and Mirio. And everyone, even though they got knocked out, they wake up straight away when they sit up and they start looking at Mirio and Deku. They look at each other and like, a standoff, huh? And Deku takes out a sword and holds it up in like middle of his nose kind of position, and he's like, "Let's do this!" And Deku blasts off using um he's using body flicker. I'm gonna call it body flicker. You know what? Never mind. I'm calling it body flicker. And he swings his sword, and his sword goes right through Mirio, and Mirio's like, "I got you!" and swings his he kicks Deku. He tries to kick Deku, but faithfully Deku dodges at incredible speeds and swords Mirio again, and he's like, so he can turn himself into air, maybe? But no, he's a solid figure. And to Deku, it looks like time stopped, cause Deku, as he has mastered, 15% times 15, but with one for all, he basically has 60. So he's putting 15. Yeah, he has 60. So he's putting 15 into every single part of his body. So he's able to move at fast speeds. So Deku is, his time has stopped. He's kind of like Flash, but not as fast as him. And he's like, and his mind is moving at really fast speeds. And we just slow it down and says, so does he have like an air quirk? And he goes through the whole encyclopedia of quirks, because he's read that before, and he basically states all quirks that have ever been found in history. And he thinks of a few possibilities, but he needs to test these out first. So he swings at him, and then swings at him a second time. Sees that both of those times, the first one didn't hit, but the second one hit. And he was like, his arm is broken. He's like, damn, that weapon's strong, but he's way more stronger. And Mirio walks down into the ground. He's like, where did he go? He's like, no, it's not any of the quirks, I think. I don't think it's even put into the encyclopedia. And Deku's kind of like looking all around, like, where could he be? Looking behind him, under him, everywhere. And Mirio jugs up from under him with a punch right in front of him. But before Mirio could react, Deku has a sword in front of him, and does air slash. And this slash isn't sharp because the weapon isn't sharp, it's blunt. So it blasts Mirio into the ground, and Mirio's on the ground, almost unconscious. So Mirio goes back underground, and he goes to a farther place and gets back up. He's like, and he's panting. But as soon as Mirio appears, Deku flash steps towards him. Is like, "Do you give up?" With his sword right at Mirio's throat, and he's like, "I give." And everyone's like, "How did Deku do that?" And Deku's like, "I didn't have to use rage mode. I mean, just rage. I didn't have to use rage mode. I didn't have to use rage mode." Oh, let me see how much time I've been recording. Okay, yeah, I can round it up for 5 more minutes. So, basically, um, Deku wins, and he ends up explaining the work studies, and Deku's kind of interested in Mirio, because he wants to ask him about his quirk, and Deku goes right up to Mirio, says, "Hey, dude, what happened with your quirk?" And Mirio's like, "Well, before that, you gave me kind of a good beating. What's your quirk?" It's like, Deku doesn't know Mirio, so he says, "I'd rather not talk about it. But, like, what's your quirk?" He's like, "Well, I mean, I don't want to get into any personal matters, but my quirk is called permeation." He's like, then Mirio explains to Deku all about permeation, and Deku's like, "That's a really cool quirk, but the way you've rounded out to make it your own, it's kind of creative." Deku thinks about his creativity, not as good as Mirio's creativity is. But, I mean, that does not matter. To him, at least. So, is, um, Deku, well, no, actually, Mirio talks to Deku and says, "Well, talking about work studies, do you want to go to Night to work study?" And he's like, "Who's Night?" And then Deku reminds himself, "Night the pro hero?" And he's like, "The one that could tell the future." Actually, you know what? He doesn't know that he can tell the future. He's like, just a pro hero, Night the sidekick. Actually, you know what? Yeah, he doesn't know that. So he's like, "Yeah, of course I would. I'd love that." He's a cool. No, he's not. He's a very cool hero. I remember him fighting alongside of Oh my. Oh, I'd wish I was alive back then. And Deku's literally fanboying in his own mind. And we move on to the next day, and this is the day where you choose your work set, your who you're gonna go work for temporary. Um, actually, okay, so to go work for your to study for a hero, and go study after a hero, and Deku um chose Night Eye, and the next day, I mean, it's time to get to the next day. Deku's been training a little bit, just slight training, so he got in a little bit better at Kendo and everything. So, he heads off to with Mirio. He meets up with Mirio, and this is a school day, but the school day is off, so no students are in campus. They're out going to their work studies, and Deku is at Night Eye's work study, and Mirio tells him, as a piece of advice, that he needs to be good at jokes. If he can make Nana laugh, then he gets in. And he's like, "Got it." And Deku's very optimistic. So Deku heads up right into Nana's office. He's like, "Who is this, Mirio?" And Mirio explains, "Oh, this is Deku. He's a very strong person, and he's here for a work study." And Nana's like, "Okay." Kind of like confused. Why did you bring this kid here then? And um, Mirio knows what he's thinking. He's like, "Just don't mind it." And Deku tries right off the bat to scare. No, actually, no. To make Night I laugh, but it didn't work. And what he did was basically make the best. Actually, you know what? The best face of All Might, and this slightly makes Night Eye look at him like, "You good, dude?" And he notices that Night Eye is creeped out, and so Deku is like, "Damn it, I lost my chance, but it looks like I should go back home. It looks like I won't have a chance with Night Eye." It's like, wait, before you think of going, because it's like, wait, what? Like, he doesn't explain how he knew that, but he's just like, if you're able to touch me, I will give you, I will accept you into my my works to work under me. But Night I can only see a few no, actually, no. He can't see a few seconds into the future. Into the future. And basically, Night Eye's predicting that Deku will lose. And because of this, Deku heads straight off, attacking Night Eye with everything he has. And because he doesn't want to hurt the pro hero Night Eye, he's right now using ×5. He's like, and Night Eye's like, exactly the way I thought it would go. And he didn't see all the way into the future because he was cocky. He's like, this kid isn't going to get into my work study. Let me just put him down a few notches. And he's like, well then, you weren't able to touch me. Because that's the end of his, that was where he ended off his future eyesight. And Deku's like, well, time to use it. And he goes, times 10. And he blasts off towards Night Eye. Night Eye looking off to the future, but before Night Eye was able to even react to anything Deku was actually doing, actually, you know what? He's able to react, and he doesn't get touched, and he's like, well then, you brought me to max. And then goes, times, yeah, so it is 15 with times 15 with one for all. So he says, full going times 15. And as he's using full cowling with one for all, he gets a very high boost. So he's able to touch Night Eye, and even slightly touching him hurts him to a very, very high speeds. So Night Eye says like, this kid was able to change the future. Kind of panting because he was like getting his own workout out of this. And Deku is kind of like stretching. He's like, wow, you gave me a challenge, didn't you? And Night Eye is very, very impressed. And Night Eye is like, okay. And first day he goes out patrolling with Mirio. And on the last day of patrolling, Mirio and Deku are walking around town, and Deku can see this girl in this alleyway running, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Yes, it is a tiny girl and trying not to frighten her. He's like, and then comes after a guy who has a kind of like a beak mouth, like a beak mask, and has strange clothes on. And Deku was like, you know this man? Talking to the girl. And we all know this girl's Eri. So he's talking to Eri. He's like, are you okay? He's like, yes, I'm okay. And actually, no, she doesn't say anything. And he's like, do you know this girl? He's like, talking to the person. He's like, yes, that's my daughter. And she's like, is this true? Deku's talking to Eri, and Eri is not talking back to Deku, and not saying anything to Deku, and Deku is kind of suspicious, thinking that he might be like abusing it, his daughter or something. It's like, have you done anything to this girl? She has bandages around her arm. Then he says, no, it's just that she hurts herself a lot. She's really clumsy. And Deku's looking at all how we know Overhaul, like, okay. He's like, and she sees the horn, is like, and he's like, okay. And he's like, let me talk to my consultant for a second, bringing Eri with him. And he's like, talking to Mirio, is like, you can see he's clearly a bad guy. It's like, but we don't know, he might be hurting someone who has a clear explanation for why his daughter looks like that. It's like, okay then. And he has like, should we let her go? And he's like, for now. Actually, you know what? No. But Deku did not want to hear Mirio, did not want to listen to Mirio. So he's like, I'm not gonna let her go. He's like, sorry, but we're gonna need to go. We're gonna have to bring this girl with us, and you'll need to come with us too. And he's like, damn you heroes, you can't even whenever someone gives you a clear explanation, you can't even listen. Well, too bad. You should have left. You wouldn't be dead in the next 2 seconds if you did. And he's like, and Mirio come into a fighting stance, and Deku has his hand on his sword. And he says, as long as you give the girl, I will let you go. And Deku's like, no. But Mirio's like, go. And pushes Deku away. But the girl doesn't go and just goes and walks up right into Deku and helps him get up. It's like, and starts crying. It's like, Mirio, take the girl with you. He's like, no, Deku, I want you to fight this guy alone. It's like, go now. So the roles are kind of reversed. And Deku is fighting Overhaul, and Overhaul is kind of getting overwhelmed, and he's not able to catch up. So he's throwing spikes at Deku, and Deku is, even though he's very fast, Overhaul's quirk is almost as fast, and he's only able to dodge these slightly. And Deku can see that Overhaul's not joking around. And Overhaul ends up running away. And he's using his quirk to boost his speed. Not Deku, but Overhaul. And Overhaul is running and running and running and running until they make it inside a building. And he gives the girl to the police officer and says, call all available heroes to this certain location. And Deku texts Mirio saying that to bring to say exactly what he just said to the consultant, and give him the address, which is the address that he gave the police officer. So he calls up an emergency broadcast, and Overhaul hears. He's like, damn heroes. He's like, you guys couldn't even mind your own business. Ugh. And he's like, well then. And Mirio comes back. And this time, Eri is falling behind him. Mirio not noticing, but Eri was able to get out of the sight of the police girl. And Deku is kind of injured, and because this is a villain, and I decided not to do the fights that they had to do to get the temporary hero license that they could use their quirks, just for the fact that that I thought that it was really unnecessary from much things that needed to happen. So, you sorry, my brother was talking to me. That's besides the point. Let's get back into the video. So, ooh, sorry, I almost threw my phone off the edge. And so Deku is actually Deku's using his sharp mode and is throwing multiple waves of compressed air, and Deku's being bring to his ultimate point. So he's like, "You made me use this, but this time I'll control it no matter what." Instinct mode! And Deku screams this. His eyes go white, but instead of fully going white, they go red with a slight black pupil in the middle. Like, what is this? No matter, doesn't matter. I'll kill him. And uh, Overhaul is going off on Deku's spikes. All these are hitting, but not even puncturing him at all, cause now he is times 60. No, actually, times 120, because he has 30 on each limb. So he basically multiplied the power he was using times 2 again. So he's literally going off, like wrecking everything he sees. And Overhaul's not able to keep up with his power, but Deku eventually reaches a maximum capacity. Over 2 minutes, Overhaul has been defending himself constantly, Deku not being able to get even close enough to send a enough strikes at One for All. So he's like, well, time to use it. And basically he combined Flash Step with his sword, and he's like, this is basically like Lion's Song from One for All Zoro. No, One Piece Zoro, and he's able to cut Overhaul's right arm off. He's like, damn you! And he's like, get in here! And then he fuses with everyone, and he turns into this big monster. And then all the heroes arrive and see that there's this big monster, and that Deku is throwing compressed airstrikes at it, and it is breaking off everything that it is able to use. So it kind of looks like Deku is winning, but not really. Deku's only stalling it, not able to hit it strong enough to keep it off. So the Dragon Quirk hero comes in and is starting to physically fight that big monster, and it gets eventually knocked out. And Eri, seeing that Mr. Deku is getting hurt a lot, she's like, Deku! And sees that one of the strikes is coming right at Eri. And because she hears Deku, his instinct mode came off. And Deku's like, no, Mr. Deku! And she jumps onto Deku, and he's like, I'll protect you no matter what. Because he kind of thinks him as, like, his brother, like a dad. And, sorry, that's the noise of my sister waking up. And Deku is like, I won't let nothing hurt you, ever. And basically, this is when the duel starts, where Deku goes max, One for All. So Deku combines all of times, well, there is no max potential for one for for what is it called again? Enhancement mode. Enhancement. So he goes max One for All mode, but this time um enhancement mode is multiplying One for All. So basically that means that now Deku is basically at one. Wait, so take 120. No, you know what? 60 times 100. Then you got. So he's basically at 60,000%. Deku slightly kicks one for all. He basically kicks one for all. And then the whole almost the whole entire state, like almost the whole entire like state, everything is almost all of it gone. Deku literally kicked one shot, kicked everything in the vicinity, and everything in at least a 300,000 million yards or meters away in acres. Not killing anyone, but just destroying everything. Every single home, every single anything in the vicinity that was included in anything such as buildings, parks, police stations, hospitals, everything. Not killing a single person, because heroes were there to save them. But Deku, like he's able to control himself, flash steps, and at this point, Deku is as fast as at this point, Deku is fast enough to run around the world in let's see, 1 minute. No, actually, you know what? 30 seconds. It'll take Deku 30 seconds to run around the world 5 times. So Deku's speed is incredible. God mode. And Deku, at this point, because he's able to run this fast, he fixed everything. Every single thing that was broken, anything. He fixed it back together. And sturdy. So, call me Bob Builder times the Flash. So it's Bob the Builder X Flash. So, T. Yeah, so I've been filming for 57 minutes. So, yeah, we'll leave it off here. I hope you guys liked the video. Give it a big fat like. Comment any suggestions for the next what if, cause I'm kind of losing passion for this series. But I'm not gonna stop it. I'm gonna finish it till the end, and at the end I will do either a take it out of this a Naruto what if, a Deku what if, or a no, I'm not gonna do that. What if I'm gonna do or a here DXD yeah, DXD what if, or an Issei what if. So out of those 3, comment down below, and yeah, hope you guys liked the video. Give a like and subscribe. Bye guys.